I'm always going to give you information that is actually usable, not just fluff. Today is no less than that. And we're talking about the accumulation of toxicants, agents that make health harder to obtain and maintain. These things are keeping so many people from experiencing life as they could or maybe even should. These toxicants are causing gene mutations, chronic inflammation, and really overwhelming the detoxification pathways. These are pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, insecticides. The end result being disease and dysfunction, and namely things like lymphoma, leukemia, breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, ovarian cancers, brain cancers. And on top of that, there's developmental abnormalities, birth defects that we're seeing. And the thing is, some people, they have the genetic machinery, they have the cytochrome enzymes that are proficient in detoxifying these insecticides, these herbicides, compared to somebody next to them. These things are not good for any of us, but some of us are able to clear them easier. And this was noted in a 10-year study looking at childhood exposure to insecticides and the increased risk of brain cancer. Where those with the greatest genetic factors, environmental overload, and nutritional deficiencies were at the greatest risk of developing the brain cancer. So this just is not, oh, it's in my genes. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing can be done. It's just how it is, just happens. I'm going to eat the ultra processed, pesticide laden foods, spray the Roundup, on the weeds in my driveway, use the synthetic fertilizers on my lawn, and just see what happens. There is a bioaccumulation that may have come down from your grandparents to your parents. Now it's you, and just continues on into your offspring if you don't adjust the lifestyle that you learned from the generation before. Maybe your grandparents didn't know that, Roundup and these pesticides, Agent Orange was going to destroy humans. Now we know. Knowing means we can make a different choice, and we can create greater opportunity not only for ourselves, but the generation that comes after us. So today we're talking about the most problematic fruits and vegetables when it comes to pesticides. And these foods, you really want to buy organic. And if organic is not available for you, then and you can't find these foods from your a local source or from your own backyard, then you just want to avoid them, because the pesticides in them far outweigh the benefits you could receive from consuming these fruits and these vegetables. There's too much toxicity being applied, and they may look pretty, they may look fresh because all the chemicals on them, but they are not supporting your well-being. Physically, mentally, emotionally, you name it. If you haven't already signed up for the Shake the Sugar Challenge, the plus version's coming. Get to it. And if you have not shared this content or this channel, I can't imagine why you wouldn't have, with your friends or family members, because this is good stuff. And people's lives are being impacted in a very positive way, and their health is accumulating. So the following whole foods have the highest level of multiple pesticides in them. And these are, I'm just going to run through them with you guys. So we got peaches, nectarines, grapes, strawberries, cherries, spinach, apples, my favorite, Brussels sprouts, cucumbers, tomatoes, apricots, just lettuce or salad lettuces in general, and bean pods. So those 12 are what we call the dirty dozen, and they're very, very, very dirty. So dirty, in fact, that there was 210 different pesticides found in these 12 food items. Isn't that crazy? Wild? 210 different individual pesticides. So, there's these entities and governmental agencies that are literally poisoning the food supply. And each of these foods that I just mentioned had at least 13 different pesticides in them, some having over 23 or having 23 unique pesticides in them. It's just wild. What are we thinking? In addition, I would mention that kale, the non-organic variety, is soaked with a particular pesticide called DCPA. And this baby, it's correlated with liver and thyroid tumors, amongst other things. I personally like a kale salad rubbed with vinegar or vinaigrette, but only if it is an organic kale salad. Otherwise, sorry, I don't care how expensive that restaurant is, it's not worth it. So consuming these otherwise, I would say, health promoting foods, named after a bunch of awesome foods right there, in a non-organic form, it can increase the risk of cancers, neurological disorders, hormone imbalance. We're talking like, endometriosis, ovarian cysts, PCOS, as well as reproductive issues like infertility or even fetal death, birth defects. That's what's going to happen when we're inundating our body with these pesticides. And like I mentioned earlier, it is the accumulation of these toxins day after day. Those micro servings over and over that accumulate in our body over time. Time is to our benefit or not to our benefit, depending on what we're putting in our being, that ends up leading to the disease state. And those most susceptible, they tend to be children, they're pregnant women, men who are trying to help women procreate are most susceptible and are creating the greatest opportunity for the offspring to have challenges. So when pesticide exposure occurs, especially in children at the critical stages of development, it can interfere with organ development and overall function. So it may not be, you got brain cancer, or you got leukemia, or a raging autoimmune condition because of inundation, that low grade over and over hit of the pesticides, but it can be learning disabilities. It could be attention deficit disorder, ADHD. Have you heard of that before? It can be brain development problems. And I think it's just critical that we say, what is going on here? Let's make an adjustment. Because clinical trials show over and over that people who switch from the standard poisoned food to organic food see literally a rapid, very quick, within 72 hours, and significant reduction in their urinary pesticide concentrations. And the switch that leads to lower urinary pesticide levels then leads to improved fertility and overall birth outcomes, as well as reduced incidence of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, lower obesity rates. Yes, fat accumulation, inability to clear fat from my body is associated with pesticide intake, and reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. So why are we poisoning our food supply? Man, anybody know? Of course, it's all about the profits. It's all about profits over people. Super sad, but that's just how it is. There's literally no other way to explain it. So if you are pro-fertility, if you are pro-vital offspring, if you are pro the environment, if you're pro-living long and strong, then by all means, I'm suggesting choose organic. At a minimum, when it comes to these 12 food items, you're not going to be sorry if you chose organic. You paid a few extra cents, or made sure you got those items in season, or you got them frozen because they're a little less expensive usually when they're frozen versus fresh kind of thing. Or you made your own garden and you didn't let anybody put any junk in it. Man, take these little measures, these little steps. You might be shocked that those pesticides, it wasn't the food that you were allergic to, that you were sensitive to. It may actually be the pesticide residues in the food that were the problem. All right, I'm Dr. Matt. Check out below for a link to the download for this week. Free, always. And then, check out the Shake the Sugar Challenge. Coming up, big time, May 1st. It's going to be huge.